Well, this gospel has a lot of elements, and we can only look at a few of them. But in effect, Jesus is saying to us, now look, you got to be above average. You're not supposed to be like any non-believer. You're supposed to be excelling. You're supposed to be going far above what people expect. If you're one of my disciples, the acid test of being a Christian is whether you love your enemies and you pray for your persecutors. These sorts of things, And so we see that the Lord is, first of all, challenging us and reminding us that if you're one of my disciples, there's a certain way that you're going to act that doesn't conform with the low baseline of human decency. It's going to go above that because God is so rich in mercy, and I'm living my life in you. Now, again, in another way he's saying to us is, first of all, don't be so uptight about everything. There's a bunch of things that he groups in this category. It says here that if someone comes and strikes you on one cheek, turn it off of the other. That's an assault on our dignity. It's not a physical attack so much. It's about our dignity. And look, you could either flee or you could fight. But there's a third way. You can stand there, look that person in the eye and say, I won't strike you back, lest I become like you. But I'm not going to run either. I'm not going to be in fear. I'm going to stand here, and you're going to have to look at me and accept me as I am. And so there's a kind of a stand your ground place that the Lord asks us to be here. It goes on to say, look, if somebody asks you for your cloak or one of your possessions, or they ask you for a loan or what, lighten up a little. Be generous where you can. Now, we know we can't always give to everybody, and we can't give everything away, but the Lord is basically saying, look, lighten up a little bit. You don't have to, be angry just because somebody's asking for a little of your time or a little of your treasure, a little bit of your talent. Just be kind, be gracious, listen. And if you can be generous, do so, you see. And so again, stop being so, uptight about things, you see. It's kind of his advice there. And then, again, this idea of lending and so on, all of these. You want a loan from me? Well, okay, how can I help you? And we can't always help, but where we can, we ought to. And so we see then that the Lord is encouraging us in this regard. And then he finally says, I want you to know that if you do these things, you'll be storing up treasure for yourself. There will be a reward for you, whether here or in heaven. Because again, if you will again give gifts, they'll be given back to you. It says here that good measure, packed together, shaken down, will be poured into your lap. Now here comes a warning, and here's how we should end. For the measure that you measure to others will be measured back to you. Now that's important, because if we want God to show us mercy, show us kindness, be generous to us, the Lord is asking us to show that to others as well. But if I measure out stinginess and anger and gruff, and I'm unforgiving and unmerciful, look out. That's the standard that God will use to judge you and me. And I'm going to tell you, I can only speak for myself, but I'm hoping he judges with a lot of grace and mercy. And I bet you are too. So, the measure that we measure to others will be measured back to us. Amen.